What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to do a ukulele tutorial on Lovesong by The Cure. This might not be the best song for strumming around the campfire kind of thing because there's a lot of space in it, but it's a really cool piece to know if you want to play it with a band or with some other musicians, or to just learn a cool piece to play along with the song. I really like how this transcription came out on ukulele. I think it's really pretty cool. If you've been playing ukulele for a while, you know not everything from guitar really works on ukulele, but I think this really does. It's really cool. So it doesn't require a capo or anything, and as it's transcribed here, it's in the tuning of the song, so you could play it along with the song as it is here open without a capo. So here we go. That first A minor add 9 chord that they play, you're just going to grab the second fret of the fourth string or the G string with your second finger, and then the second fret of the A string or the first string with your third finger. And I'm just doing kind of a roll, like thumb 1 2 3 kind of roll, just because I think it's cool and suits the song. But if you don't like that or you're not good at that, you can just thumb it or index it or whatever you like. But so that's really what the guitar does in the verse. It's just bass and drums and keys and vocals really doing the heavy lifting, so to speak. So you just hit that chord and ring it out and let it go for 8 measures. And then here, like if you got another uke player or another guitar player, another one of you could hit it right here again at the 9th measure. But the new part that comes in is this part. You've got T2, T1, T2. These are suggestions about, that means T2 means thumb in second, and T1 means thumb in first. There are a number of ways you could play this. I'm just trying to get a little alternation in where I'm playing the second string with my thumb every time, but then I'm going back and forth between my first and second. But you could also, if you want to, just play them both with your second all the time. That works just fine too. Just keep in mind when you see a little dash here, that means a slide. So I'm starting with that 3 with my first finger. Then I'm going to my third finger for the 5, sliding it to the 7, going back to my first for the next 5, back up with my third, back to my first, to slide down to 3, and then open. So notice there's a rest on 1 here. So you start on the second beat of the measure, and then every time following, you're just still letting those 2 open strings ring out over the 1 of the measure. That's it. Pretty cool. So then, when you get to the end of that part, you want to get back to this verse A minor add 9 chord. So you're just gonna kind of go, and then you're back to letting that ring out. Well, the vocals and the drums and bass and keys all kick back in. 8 measures later, you hit your A minor add 9 again. And so the C section here, this is actually the violin, or I think it's probably synthesizer violin, violin part. But you can play this on ukulele, and I think it's pretty cool. So I'm just playing this like I'm in second position, which means that my first finger is aligned with the second fret. So when I do that 0 2 3 hammer on there, going open to first at second fret to second at third fret. So I'm just trying to go back and forth between my first and second finger, and I'm keeping my thumb sort of sitting on the second string, which maybe isn't too textbook, but it works. So I'm playing all the notes on the second string, or the E string, with my thumb. And again, you've got suggested, just a suggestion, fingerings up here. So I'm leading with my second. I play bass too, and I tend to lead with my second, so it's just a habit. Also, your second finger's longer, and it feels like it's first to me, although I guess if you read left to right, which we do typically, that might not seem right. But anyway, I lead with my second most of the time. So that's it. That's the violin part. And it sounds like sort of complex, maybe, but it's really, I don't think that bad. Certainly not super beginner, but intermediate. So just practice slowly. Gradually build up your speed. So it's just repeating that probably 4 times. Oh yeah. So I added this here, right? At the end of it, how many times is it? Maybe it's 3 times. The end of it on the last one starts up here on the and of 4 here. So but it's the same as before. You're still doing your hammer on. And then this is all just the same, but then you're going to end on this. So you're going to go. Right, so you don't have to strum for that whole measure. It doesn't really have to be 30-second notes, but the violins or faux violins do some really fast bowing there, so you can sort of approximate that just by holding a C chord and just with the tip of your finger, just go back and forth as fast as you can there. So you sort of get that effect, and it's just a cool traditional kind of ukulele sound. Sounds kind of Hawaiian. So then you're back to your A minor add 9 for the verse, letting that ring out for 8 measures. Then you hit it again, letting it ring out. So the chorus. So here's your whole chorus. You got some not super common chords in here. This first chord is a C sus4, and I'm playing this with my pinky on the 3rd fret of the A string, just because of where I'm going next. Like, you certainly could play that with 1 and 3, like so. But then the next chord, that works too, honestly. I was playing it with 1 and 4 because then these fingers are both free and I can just jump. Oops, jumped wrong. To that E minor over D. But you could just as well go. So whatever you're more comfortable with. Again, starting with C sus4. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we're here. You're going to hit A minor on the 1 of that measure. And 2 and. So there are a couple ways you can do this. Well, let's take it. Oh yeah, I left some of it out actually. Like to get that back in there. So the way I have it suggested up here is that I try to. None of my students like doing this kind of thumb 1 2 3 roll, which I do like to do. So if you're cool with that, I'm doing that, and then I end up alternating between my first and second. But if that's not working for you, you could also just thumb it, and then like alternate between your thumb and first on that A string. Most of my students seem to think that's easier. Or you could do some combination thereof. You could thumb it, but then go back and forth between 1 and 2. That's okay too. So whatever works. That's actually the whole chorus. It just repeats just like that. So you've got really cool, I think. was playing it the suggested way, just thumbing it and then alternating with my thumb and my first. Somewhere in there, aha, yeah, I skipped the lead. Right, my bad. Thought I was on this first chorus up here. So after that chorus, well, in fact, coming out of that chorus, it's like you started over, but then you don't complete it. You go back into just like before. But on the very last one, we're leading into the guitar solo, which we can totally play on ukulele. So on the last one, ending up there on 7, so that I can then go so with this, I didn't put fingering instructions in here just because, hey, I'm doing a video and you can watch. And also, I don't feel terribly strongly about how you must do it. You could either, I think the easiest way to do it is to use your first and second to go back and forth for the eighth notes on the A string, and then use your thumb for all the notes on the E string or the second string. So I think it helps to break this down into little phrases or passages. Like this to me is the first one. You go, right, just like that. Then the second phrase. Very similar. Notice I'm using my pinky for the 5 so that you're kind of using one finger per fret, positional style playing. Then we get here. Use my second finger for those 3s. You could hammer on there, but I notated it as a slide, and I'm playing it as a slide just because that sounds a little more authentic to me. Then we're here. This is like half of a phrase, but just to put it in a digestible piece. I'm playing that all with my thumb. You could alternate thumb and first if you want. So, our last phrase, again on the top string or on the A string, you could either go back and forth between your first and second. And I shouldn't pull that off, I guess. So I went back and forth between my first and second. And then I was alternating thumb and first on the A string, but you could also just thumb it. And then you're back to the verse. So that whole solo, just play it kind of loosely here. You might notice I pulled that off there. You could do that if you want. Maybe I shouldn't put it that way. Whatever. End of the solo, as I said before. Back to your A minor add 9 chord that rings over the verse. Those are all the parts in the song. Then you're just back to chorus, and you end on your so sad A minor add 9 chord. Thanks for checking out this tutorial. I hope it goes well.